You did it. You became a best-selling author. You were so excited. It was a life transforming event. It made you feel so great about yourself and about your book and all the work you were doing and everything. And now what? You kind of feel like, yeah, and I know the feeling. I really absolutely do. Today we want to talk about after, after the bestseller, after the book launch. What do you do? And why was that launch and that bestseller ranking so important? Let's jump into that. Hey, my name is Steve Kidd. I am a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 41 books and counting. Over the course of the last 40 years in business, I've helped over 5,000 authors write, publish, market their books to bestseller, and all the amazingly cool things that come after that. Because bestseller is only the beginning, it is your day one launch strategy. Your book is absolutely a mandatory part of your visibility. But I can tell you, as somebody who is the architecture for visibility for people ranging all the way from doctors, lawyers, nurses, Olympic athletes, multi billionaires, as well as stay at home moms and startup companies and all of those kind of things. What I can tell you is just how important the bestseller is, but also just how much it is a starting point. It is where you begin the journey, not where not the destination. If that you want to land at, it's not the end of the journey. It's not the end of your life. It's not the end all be all. It is an absolutely really cool, amazing step in your journey. And it's something that in order to maximize what you're doing, you absolutely need to have it. But it's a starting place. It is a beginning spot, not an end. Not even really a place that you want to stay at. Now, with that said, oh, it's going to be one of those days. All right, that'll be fun. Hey, Tejas, glad to have you here with us. With that said, bestseller is absolutely important, and it, more importantly, is something that you absolutely need to. Oh man, I love it when we have sneezing right in the middle of it. It absolutely is something that you need to have as part of what you're doing. Without it, you're always going to be just a little bit less than where you could be in your bestseller journey if you just simply, or rather in your marketing journey, if you, didn't have the concept of being a bestseller in there. I apologize for the sneezes. We will, as always, just turn it into a drinking game and have a lot of fun with it today. We can count and see how many times does Steve sneeze today. And that's always fun too, right? So anyway, we'll continue on. Maybe we'll continue on, or maybe we'll just sneeze the whole time. This whole entire episode is brought to you by sneezes. Remember, Sesame Street when it's like, this is brought to you by the letter Q and the letter W. Oh man. This episode is brought to you by spring, the time of allergies, the time for you to get all excited. Because, you got an opportunity to be able to really, truly, watch Steve sneeze his full head off live on camera, proving that I'm definitely not an AI. I don't think AI bots would sneeze in the middle of their live presentation. Nira, glad to have you here with us. Appreciate you. Or is it Niraj? I'm sorry if I said it wrong. So glad to be here with you and help you with things and to sneeze for you. That's fun too. You see, jeez. Once your book hits bestseller, absolutely important. Totally something that you want to have happen. But after that, you then need a process. You need to know what and how uh, you're going to market your book, because you absolutely want to share that powerful message with the world. And you want to really, oh man, you want to really do something with the fact that you are a bestseller. Why? Because, it is a start place. It's like when you go to medical school. I know this is hilarious, isn't it? Um, Thank you for whoever gave me the hug. I need it right this minute. Snoozing my fool head off while I'm live. That's fun. Um, like you said, should be a drinking game or something. How many times can Steve sneeze in one live broadcast? That could be really a lot of fun. Um, yeah. So bestseller is very much like getting your doctorate or graduating from medical school, that kind of thing. It is a credential. It's a credential you need in order to have the authority that you're meant to have, the authority that's meant for you. But after you get it, you need to capitalize on it. You need to do something with it. So statistically speaking, there are about twice as many people that are going to graduate every year from medical school uh, as there are available internships in the United States. Now, that's not to say you couldn't go and intern in another country or things like that. But, if you went to school here in the US, typically you're going to also want to do your internship here in, where you're from, right? Um, it isn't quite that easy because they're only going to fill half of those kids that graduate this year into the next batch of interns. What sets you apart? Well, if you're talking about internships, as a doctor, it would be your grades and your boards and, all of the things that you did in your testing and in your school and those kind of things. I remember it must have been my freshman year of high school. The valedictorian that year for the seniors that graduated was the most highly contested valedictorian race I've ever heard of in my life. They had to literally go back to first grade. One of the two guys got an A minus one time on a paper in first grade. And that was the literal only difference between the guy who is number one and the guy who is number two. It's credentials. It's what have you done with it? What recommendations do you have? What kind of, uh, you know, additional type of things have you done? Because ultimately, the hospital that's looking at you coming in as an intern, they want to be able to, get more funding from their donors by saying, hey, yeah, we had this guy and this new intern, he's the number one graduate from Harvard Medical School. Okay. That is good for the hospital's donors to be able to say those kind of things. The same thing is true. I love how Seth Godin said it. He said, when it comes to things like take something, like say, for example, plumbing, he goes, I might not need a plumber right now, but when I do need a plumber, I want the guy who wrote the book on it. I don't want just, some random open the yellow pages. You can tell how long ago this was said this, right? Open the yellow pages and pick out some random plumber. I want the guy who wrote the book on it. Your ideal client, they want you, but they want the credentialed version of you. They want that. And so bestseller is absolutely important. It's really, really something that you want to have in place as the credential. But then you got to use it. First, you got to, you got to share it. You got to tell people, like I did in my intro, that I'm a 41-time #1 international best-selling author. I think I just said I'm the author of 41 books and counting. But, it needs to be made a big deal out of. I need to make a big deal out of the fact that my 40th book, I technically have a 41st book because I was in a compilation with the speakers at the event that I spoke at a couple of weeks ago. So I'm actually at 41 now. But with my 40th book, which is the main one I'm marketing right now, it has been in the top 10 consistently since the day it launched. And it's been #1 on ebooks, and in the top 10 to 20 in print books as well. It has been #1 for the last 2 weeks running. That's a big deal. I was making a big deal out of it when it was just consistently staying in the top 5, but having it be literally the #1 best-selling book in ebooks, that's huge. That's a big thing. That's something to be proud of, and it's something to be shared. Okay, so that's the first piece, is we got to share it. Second piece is we need to have a marketing plan. We need to, and that goes back to sharing it and consistency. So we have the clarity. Clarity is the words that we put on the paper that we then made a bestseller. And we're clear about the fact that, hey, I'm the dude that wrote the book on that thing. Okay. I can talk to you about bestsellers and about bestseller being only the beginning, because I'm literally the guy who wrote the book on it and went into detail teaching you and showing you what it's for and what to do beyond that. And I'm just kind of giving you a basic primer on it today, because after you do that, you need a consistent, ongoing marketing plan. What are you going to do? How are you going to get those reviews? Amazon really weighs reviews really a lot. Both in how it ranks the books as well as in how well the book is selling. And it looks at those kind of things. And that is what it's going to do to determine whether it recommends your book or somebody else's book. Amazon has, in every listing, it's like people also bought, blah, blah, blah products. Kind of a thing. And that shows up based on the ones that are, Amazon's making money off of. Let's just be real. Amazon sends out emails and they said, here's some other books that you might be interested in. Here's a product that, you might be interested in. It's Prime Day again. Here's the top things in Prime. You, with any of your products, you want to have that ongoing marketing that you're doing on Amazon, but especially with books, because about 90% of all books sold are being sold off of Amazon. So what is your intentional plan to have your book on Amazon be seen, be heard, be known, be consistently connecting with people? That's where I come in. I can help you. Hey, Tim, hit 1993. I have seen Jurassic Park, Jim. I've seen it many, many times. Thank you for suggesting it. I appreciate that. It's really important that, that you do really spend the time with a consistent marketing for your book. People want what you have to say. They want and need what you're doing, but they can only get it if you share it with them. And it's really something that we want to have a plan for. I would love to help you plan for that. And in fact, what I do is I would love you to just drop the link to your book in the comments, and let me take a look at your book. Let me make a couple of comments, just a couple of suggestions right there in the comments for you of things that you can do that will improve your visibility. And then, if you're interested, you and I could have a free 15-minute talk about some other things you can do to market your book. I mean, yeah, we'd love to have you work with us. We would be excited to have you be one of our next clients that we're really helping do things. But either way, I'm here to help you. I want you to know that bestseller is the beginning. It is a start. And if you haven't hit there yet, let's get you there. But then let's get you on to all the other amazingly cool things that you're meant to do in this world. Okay? I appreciate you. I hope that you're happy, safe, warm, and loved. And then until we're together again next time, which will be tomorrow, and hopefully without the sneezing fit, but either way, we'll be here. I hope you have a great week.